are, but somebody else won't know any of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that you have some experiences with pet sitters passing. Do you tell us about this?
Yes, I have experienced not just one, but two local pet sitters, unfortunately passing away within the last year. And one I knew personally and interacted with, and we referred clients to each other and so forth. And her death was unfortunately expected. She had been ill, but she was still working as much as she could. And we'd helped her out with some of the visits when she was too sick or in the hospital. But when she did pass away, I don't know what her plan was. She didn't, I wasn't privy to her personal plan. So fortunately, I know because I also live nearby her, I knew that someone was going to her house daily to feed her pets and help her out. So at least I knew people knew about her personal pets and they were taken care of in various ways. Some were placed and some went to a rescue and so forth. But as far as her pet sitting, she kind of just dropped off the map. And I eventually started getting calls from her clients looking for a pet sitter. And another thing didn't even dawn on me until one of those clients who we now serve said, I don't know what happened to my keys. And I thought about it for a minute. I said, nobody called you to get your keys back? And so I realized that she had all these client files and all these client keys. And since it's been a while, her house has been sold. I have no idea what happened to these things. So she also had a key to my house. So I ended up changing the locks because I don't know where all that stuff went. I don't know who has my key now. And so that was just something that came to my attention that we need to be aware of. Like if you're not going to run the business anymore and not pass it along to someone needs to sit down and contact the clients and tell them that the business is closed. And do you want your keys back or should we just destroy them or whatever? So that was a really shocking one. And then a second situation of another pet sitter who I had not met. I only found out about her after she passed away. We had a potential client call us and want to sign up for service. And this actually happened with two clients, same story. They had some dates set up for like a big overnight sit for like 2 weeks, big overnight sit. And it's getting close to the dates. It's maybe a couple of weeks before they're leaving. So they called to check in. And the woman's son, I believe it was, answered the phone and said, oh, yeah, sorry to tell you, she passed away. So again, nobody was notified. Keys weren't returned. So people were suddenly left having to find another solution. And thank God they called. What if they had just left and assumed that somebody was coming? So, and I think in both cases, the other lady, I think, also had health problems. So those were even kind of expected. So there was more time for planning, but that planning still didn't happen. And so it really left clients in the lurch.
Such a hard thing to talk about or think about. But, we
Mm-hmm.
do so much driving in our job that anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about even carrying something with me in my car to alert anybody that there are pets in my care and who to
Mm-hmm.
contact. So I don't know if I can buy something like that or make it up, but I don't know if other pet sitters do that. I'd be curious to know. Do you do anything like that as a pet sitter?
I don't, but that's actually a really good idea. And who would be a good one to ask would be anybody in law enforcement because they know what happens, when they come upon a car accident or someone is
Mhm.
deceased, that there's got to be some procedure where back in the day we'd have something in our wallet. Well, now we have cell phones, so most of our information is there. And some people have like ICE numbers, like in case of emergency. But is your cell phone locked? Like, could someone even see that information, or
Right.
would they have to enter a passcode? So I would think maybe a card in the wallet or in your phone, but I don't know. That would be a good question to ask law enforcement or people who handle these types of situations. What's the best place? Where's the first place somebody's going to look if something happens to me to find out? Because there's other things too. People could have children at home. They could have other elderly people that they care for. If you just suddenly disappear, many others are left helpless waiting for you.
Mhm. Hmm. Well, let me ask you, do you have procedures in place if something were to happen to you? Do you have someone who could step in for you?
Yes, I'm fortunate in that my partner in life and business are the same person. So she lives
Mhm.
with me, has access to everything, has the keys. So if something happened to me, she could step in the next minute and just take over and take care of the personal animals as the business. So I'm lucky in that. So other people may have a spouse or housemate who's maybe not in the business, but that's still somebody you could trust. So you could make sure that they have access to everything. They can look in your day planner if you have a physical day planner or log into your system, and that they have access to all your keys and know your schedule. And so they would be the first person to know if something happened to you. So they could either take over or have some numbers they could call, like another pet sitting company or somebody who could come in and help. But at least they would know, and then they could notify others. And
Mhm.
it may not necessarily be your death. You might be in the hospital, you might be
Mhm.
injured or something where you're going to be okay, but you're out of commission for a time.
Right.
Mhm.
I know I network with a great group of pet sitters, and we've never really had this happen, but I'm hoping that as a group we could come together and help each other if that were the case. And I suggest that
Mhm.
with a lot of pet sitters is to get yourself a group of local pet sitters and network with them to,
Mhm.
for
Absolutely.
backup and on all kinds of, there's a lot of benefits to that, but for that
Yeah.
reason too. And
Absolutely. You don't just want to be the only one who knows where you're going and your schedule and all that. You want to have other people to have access to that information.
mhm.
And
And
just for your safety. I mean, we're out driving alone as you said. What if you got in an accident and got stuck somewhere? There needs to be a process for someone to check in with you, and if you're not responding, they should come looking. Luckily now all cell phones have GPS. It's easier to find people, but
mhm.
still someone needs to know that you're not where you're supposed to be.
Right. Well, you really got me thinking. I really need to buckle down and have a better plan. So, and I hope other pet
Uh-huh.
sitters listening are taking that in too. So, well, Bridget, we are almost out of time. So, I want to give you a couple minutes. I want to open the floor to you to talk about anything else in your heart that you want pet parents or pet sitters to know, or just anything that you would like to share. I'm going to give you a couple minutes.
All right, thanks, Mary. So, just wrapping up the topic, one thing that I meant to say, but I don't think I did earlier, is that whoever you choose to take care of your animals, make sure it's someone you can trust. Because ultimately, when you are gone, you're not going to have any control over the situation. And no will or trust or document is going to make things happen. All that is a plan, but you have truly no control over whether that person keeps your animals, surrenders them, or whatever. They're going to become legally their property to do with as they choose. So, most important is finding someone that you can trust, whether it's a spouse or partner, a friend or relative, and make sure that they agree to this because they may be nice and polite, but when it comes down to it, they don't really want that responsibility. So I think it's just very important for us to plan for that. And then the other thing is, I think just for all of us to stop being afraid to talk about these topics. And I've experienced some frustration in my own family, which is probably why this is so important to me. I will end up being the next of kin for a couple of elderly family members, close family members, with whom I have tried to have these conversations unsuccessfully. They don't want to talk about it. We're not sick. We're not going to die. You just want our stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
Very, very frustrating for me because I
Mhm.
don't want anything. But when they eventually pass away, I'm going to have a huge mess to deal with because I don't know where anything is. I don't know what's in whose name. I don't know if there's an insurance policy. That's going to be a nightmare for me when the day comes. And it's not like I want money or anything like that. I just want to be able to manage their affairs in the way that they would want and make sure everything is taken care of. But I finally just had to give up on that. But it's one of the things that makes me realize how important it is for people to to be willing to talk about these things with their family, friends, and anybody else.
Absolutely. I hope that everybody out there is listening to that. So, if
Hmm.
someone wanted to know more or contact you about your own business, what is the best way to contact you?
So they can contact me through my website, which is gooddogspetsitting.com. So the email is just info@gooddogspetsitting.com, or also through Mission Reunite, info@missionreunite.org. Either one of those will go to me. I would love to hear from you with any questions on this topic or about pet care and rescue in general. Anyone is welcome to contact me anytime.
Well, Brigid, I can't thank you enough for talking to me today. I'm glad that you wanted to share these topics with me. And I know, like you said, these are things we don't like to talk about, but we should. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here with me today.
All right. Thank you, Mary. I'm so glad to be here.
If you have any questions or comments about the show, please contact me at chaseandtails@yahoo.com. Thank you for listening to Society Bites Radio, and remember that I am here to share my passion for pet parents, professional pet sitters, and products and services that benefit both.